In the realm of human connection, the pursuit of genuine authenticity far outweighs the pursuit of fleeting appearances. Men in particular are often not looking for perfection in the traditional sense, but rather for a woman's true self, the unfiltered, unapologetic essence of who she really is beneath the polished exterior. It is in this authenticity that a deeper, more meaningful bond is formed, and the tests that men may subject women to are simply invitations to reveal this core. A man may test a woman by observing how she behaves when she is not on display. When the makeup comes off, when the clothes are casual, when the performance is over, what remains? This is the true measure of a person. While beauty and outward appearance may initially attract attention, it is the authenticity of a woman's spirit, her heart and her mind that holds lasting power. When a man seeks to connect with a woman on a deeper level, it is not her outer shell that he is interested in, but the warmth and integrity that emanate from within. But this test is not always overt. It often comes in subtle ways. A man might, for instance, create small moments of discomfort or vulnerability, asking questions that aren't meant to trap her, but to see if she answers honestly without pretense. He watches to see if she is brave enough to be her real self, even when it might not be the most flattering or expected response. He might gauge her response in situations of challenge, how she responds under pressure, how she behaves when faced with uncertainty. It is in these moments of tension where true character is revealed. The importance of authenticity in relationships also goes beyond the individual. It speaks to a woman's alignment with her values, her integrity in maintaining them, and her willingness to stay true to herself, even when the world might tempt her to conform or hide. A man will observe how she interacts with the world, not just with him. How does she present herself when there is no one to impress? Does she wear a mask, or does she allow herself to be seen as she truly is? These small moments reveal her heart, and it is these revelations that ultimately shape the nature of their connection. For a man who truly values depth and substance in a relationship, he will be testing for something far more profound than a woman's outward charm. It's a test of vulnerability, of showing who you are when there is no incentive to do so. The desire to be loved for who you are, not for who you think someone wants you to be, is perhaps the most important aspect of building a lasting connection. This journey of authenticity allows a man to understand whether a woman is capable of offering him something real, something that transcends the temporary, something that can withstand the tests of time and adversity. In any relationship, emotional resilience is one of the most important traits a man may look for in a woman. It's not simply about how she reacts in moments of joy or excitement, but rather how she responds when the winds of adversity blow in her direction. Emotional resilience speaks to her ability to maintain composure and stability, to weather the storms that inevitably come in life, and to do so without losing her sense of self or her capacity to love and care for others. Men often test emotional resilience not by causing harm, but by observing how a woman handles difficulty or stress. These tests are rarely overt or malicious. They are often subtle opportunities for a woman to show her strength under pressure. How does she navigate a disagreement, not just with him, but with others? Does she handle conflict with grace, or does she crumble in moments of stress? A man is not looking for perfection, but for a woman who can hold her ground even when emotions run high. At times, the test can be more indirect. A man may introduce moments of vulnerability or discomfort, testing whether a woman can remain calm and supportive in the face of emotional turbulence. How does she handle his moments of weakness, frustration, or sadness? Can she meet him in those moments with empathy, or does she retreat? Emotional resilience is not about suppressing emotions. It's about allowing them to exist without being overwhelmed by them. It's the ability to stand firm even when emotions are high and to rise again after being knocked down. A key part of emotional resilience is the ability to learn and grow from life's challenges. In testing this, a man will often observe how a woman reflects on and moves through the trials she faces. Does she allow setbacks to define her, or does she emerge stronger, more compassionate, and more capable? A resilient woman does not carry the weight of past struggles as an anchor. Instead, she uses them as stepping stones, learning from them, and using those lessons to navigate future challenges with wisdom and grace. Moreover, emotional resilience is tied to the capacity for forgiveness, not just towards others, but towards oneself as well. A man will often notice how a woman deals with her own imperfections, mistakes, and regrets. Does she blame herself endlessly, or does she embrace her flaws with understanding, using them as opportunities for growth? The tests come in these moments of self-reflection and self-compassion, where a man watches to see if she can rise above the weight of her own emotional struggles and continue to offer love and support to those around her. In the dance of a relationship, emotional resilience provides a foundation of trust and stability. It is the ability to stay grounded when things feel uncertain, to continue to love and support even when it feels difficult. For a man, knowing that a woman possesses this quality is not only comforting, it is essential for building a partnership that can endure the complexities and challenges that life will inevitably bring. In the delicate dance of a relationship, unspoken commitment is often one of the most telling and powerful indicators of genuine connection. Unlike grand declarations or overt displays of devotion, unspoken commitment is built on subtle actions, quiet assurances, and the underlying trust that exists between two people without the need for constant verbal affirmation. For a man, observing a woman's behavior in moments when words aren't exchanged becomes a critical test of her true intentions, values, and willingness to invest in a relationship. This form of commitment is not announced. It is demonstrated through consistent, thoughtful actions. It is seen in the small gestures, such as a woman's willingness to be present when it matters most, even when no one is watching. How does she show up during difficult times? How does she prioritize the needs of the relationship when it's not convenient? Unspoken commitment manifests in reliability, whether or not she is there, not because she has to be, but because she chooses to be. This quiet sense of responsibility often reveals more than any spoken vow could ever. For a man, the way a woman treats others, especially when there's no immediate benefit to her, becomes an integral part of this unspoken commitment. Does she extend the same care and attention to strangers, friends, and family as she does to him? Is her integrity visible in all areas of her life or only in front of him? A woman's true commitment can often be felt in her respect for people and situations outside of the romantic sphere. It speaks to a consistency in character, a quality that assures a man that the bond they share is grounded in mutual respect and sincerity, not merely convenience or self-interest. Unspoken commitment also thrives in the spaces between words. It's in the way a woman listens to him without judgment, creating a space for him to share his vulnerabilities. It's in the understanding that, in a relationship, sometimes silence speaks louder than any expression of love or affection. A man may test this by observing whether she is willing to offer emotional support without needing anything in return. Does she show up to listen without pushing her own agenda, without trying to fix him, but simply being present with him? This type of commitment is not loud or demanding, but it speaks volumes about her capacity to offer unconditional support. Moreover, the strength of unspoken commitment is often evident in how a woman handles challenges within the relationship. In moments of tension, does she reach for understanding, or does she retreat into defensiveness? Does she hold space for growth, for change, or does she expect things to remain static? The true measure of commitment is not in how someone behaves when things are easy, but in how they act when things become hard, when differences arise, and when the relationship is tested. This is when the depth of a woman's unspoken commitment is revealed, the quiet assurance that despite the struggles, she chooses to stay to work through the complexities and to build a future together. In any meaningful relationship, emotional intelligence and depth are crucial qualities that determine its longevity and success. These traits transcend surface-level interactions and reveal a person's ability to connect with others on a deeper, more meaningful level. For a man, emotional intelligence in a woman becomes a critical aspect in understanding how she handles emotions, how she perceives the emotions of others, and how she navigates the complexity of human connections. Emotional intelligence is not just about understanding one's own emotions, but also about recognizing, interpreting, and responding to the emotions of others. Men often test a woman's emotional intelligence by observing her reactions in different scenarios, particularly those that require empathy, patience, and understanding. How does she react when he shares something deeply personal or vulnerable? Is she able to listen without judgment or interruption, offering understanding rather than immediate solution? A man who values emotional depth will look for the subtle signs that show she can tune into the emotions of others without being overwhelmed by them, maintaining a balance between compassion and clarity. In the dynamics of a relationship, emotional intelligence is also seen in a woman's ability to manage her own emotions. How does she handle disappointment, frustration, or anger? Does she retreat into silence, or does she confront her feelings with maturity and openness? The way a woman navigates her own emotional landscape can provide profound insights into how she will deal with conflicts, challenges, or setbacks in the relationship. A man will watch to see if she can express herself honestly without being overrun by her emotions, if she can acknowledge pain while still maintaining control and grace. This maturity and emotional regulation is not about suppressing feelings, but about being able to understand and communicate them in a way that fosters growth and understanding. Depth, on the other hand, speaks to the layers of a person's inner world. It's not just about being emotionally intelligent, it's about how deeply a woman can connect with the emotional undercurrents of life itself. Does she explore the complexities of her own feelings and experiences, or does she stay on the surface, avoiding deeper questions? A man will often test this by introducing more profound conversations, perhaps about life, purpose, or even existential questions. He'll pay attention to whether she engages with these topics meaningfully, whether she offers insights that reveal her capacity for introspection and wisdom. A woman who has emotional depth is not afraid to confront her own contradictions or to reflect on her past in a way that informs her present choice. For a man, seeing a woman who maintains her own sense of identity, who values her own time and space, and who doesn't depend on him to define her happiness or worth, becomes an incredibly attractive prospect. It is a sign of emotional maturity, and it allows the relationship to evolve naturally rather than being stifled by dependency or possessiveness. This sense of independence and respect for space creates a partnership where both people can thrive, both individually and together. In any relationship, the passage of time is both a revealing force and a testing ground for the depth of connection. While initial attraction may spark the beginning of a relationship, it is time that will ultimately reveal its true nature. Men often look for qualities in a woman that will withstand the test of time, qualities that are not merely about how she behaves in the early stages, but how she evolves, grows, and adapts as the relationship matures. The test of time is about resilience, consistency, and the ability to remain genuine through the inevitable changes life brings. A man will often test a woman's consistency over time, noting whether she remains true to her values, her beliefs, and her character, even as circumstances evolve. When the excitement of newness fades, when the daily rhythms of life set in, does she remain committed to being her authentic self? The test of time is a measure of stability, whether the person you initially connected with can still be found in the face of routine, stress, or life's inevitable disruptions. A man will observe whether she maintains the same kindness, compassion, and integrity she displayed in the beginning, or if those qualities begin to wane as the relationship becomes more familiar. Another aspect of the test of time is a woman's ability to grow with her partner rather than stagnate. A man will look for signs that she is open to evolution both individually and within the relationship. Does she embrace change or does she resist it? As time passes, challenges will inevitably arise, personal struggles, shifts in goals, external pressures. The test is whether a woman has the emotional intelligence and adaptability to face these challenges with an open heart and mind, learning from the difficulties and becoming stronger as a result. A man values a woman who is not static, but someone who can evolve while remaining rooted in what is important. In a long-term relationship, it is easy for intimacy to fade, for connection to become routine. A man will test a woman's commitment to nurturing the bond between them over time. This is not about grand gestures or sweeping romantic acts, but about the quiet, everyday efforts that maintain emotional closeness. How does she nurture their emotional connection? Does she continue to invest in the relationship even when it's not easy or glamorous? The test of time reveals whether a woman is willing to keep the emotional intimacy alive to ensure that the relationship does not slip into complacency, but instead grows in understanding and love. Lastly, the test of time is about loyalty and trust. It's about seeing whether a woman remains steady, supportive, and dedicated even in times of uncertainty or hardship. Life will throw unexpected challenges, loss, disappointment, financial struggles, and how a woman reacts to these trials shows whether she has the resilience and loyalty to stay the course. A man is not merely looking for someone who is there during the good times, but someone who proves her commitment when things are hard, someone who chooses to stand by him through thick and thin. It is these moments that ultimately test whether the relationship can endure the trials of time and emerge strong.